Hi, class. Welcome to the fourth week of Introduction to Psychology. This week, we will be learning more about learning, about memory, and about cognitive psychology. We'll be examining in more depth different forms of learning: observational, operant conditioning, classical, for example. We'll be learning about cognitive psychology and how we study that, and different forms of memory and models of memory and learning. To best apply your learning this week, as usual, we are going to have you go into depth with your discussion board post by Wednesday night at midnight, and we're going to have you complete the knowledge path learning by Wednesday night at midnight. Your discussion this week is about false memory. We ask you to complete the memory task and watch the video from YouTube. And then for your discussion board post, you're going to describe what false memories are. You're going to examine if and how there might have been false memories for you. Describe how malleable memory is and how we know that. And since it is malleable in some ways, how do we know if one of our memories might be true or false? And then we'd like for you to review and explore at least 3 real-world situations that can be complicated by false memories. Then for your assignment this week, there are 3 parts to this. We'd like you to look at some of the examples provided and choose a specific, measurable behavior that can be easily increased or improved upon. So usually something that you can think of that you could, we sometimes call it create a SMART goal around, but something that's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time limited, that we could come up with a great action plan or behavioral plan around. But we first want you to choose the specific behavior that's modifiable and explain why you chose it. And then we'd like for you to do 2 things with this assignment this week. 1, create a very eye-catching visual infographic that's going to be launching your campaign of how to improve this specific behavior based on research, right? So we want you to explore what are some of the best evidence-based strategies and theories around how one might be efficacious in increasing and improving upon this behavior. You're going to have a bulletin board or slogan, a great visual infographic. And you want at least 2 evidence-based strategies that you've well researched and applied to this specific behavior, and what might a great action plan look like, or how someone might want to start. Again, this visual aid. And then the next part of this particular assignment is your written reflection, going into a little bit more depth with your experience creating this and what else might be important to consider when creating an action plan or goal plan for this specific behavior. You're going to go into a little bit more depth and a more deeper dive, looking at incentives and rewards and how you might shape the behavior, and have environmental considerations for best setting up this behavior. Going into a little bit more depth in some of the theoretical foundations behind why you integrated the research and the interventions to increase the behavior that you did. You're going to also talk a little bit more about how you might measure the success, how you might know that the person's achieving their goals and increasing this behavior. And then any other personal insights that you might have to offer. Please don't forget to follow the grading rubrics and to follow APA formatting when best possible. If there are any questions about formatting or writing, don't hesitate to ask me, your academic advisor, or of course some of the wonderful free tutors and tutoring services that are available to you through BayPath as well. Again, this is a very fast-paced course, so we really want to try to encourage you to stay as best on time with your assignments as you can, because it can snowball quickly because of how fast-paced the course is. Again, Wednesday night and Sunday night are your targets for getting work in. If you must be late with an assignment, please give me a notification ahead of time and we'll try to work together. But points are reduced for late work. And if it's beyond the 4-day mark, we need to kind of maybe consider contacting the Office of Accessibility for maybe some special accommodations that you might need outside of the confines of what I can do as a professor in this class. Also, discussion board posts cannot be accepted late for credit, just a reminder. And the final week of this course, no work can be accepted late for credit. We are moving right along. These are some really exciting theories with a lot of wonderful, strong, reliable, valid research behind them. So please peruse the Hatch Library to explore what empirical research you can use to support your work. And do not hesitate to reach out with any questions that might come up for you. All right. Happy learning about learning and memory and cognition. And I will have another video next week to support your learning. Thank you. Bye.